Do you have a passion for spending money on MTG Arena? Well, I got news for you. Wizards of the Coast just announced a new format, Timeless. Timeless is said to be the equivalent of Vintage for Arena, and it will have access to every single card ever printed on Arena. Every single card that is available in the client will be playable. Now, of course, there is a restricted list, as you will see here in the article. Restricted lists is going to function the same way it does on Paper Magic, where you get to play only a single copy of restricted cards in your deck, in your 75, basically. Now, what does this mean for your wallet? Well, you're going to be crafting a ton of cards. First of all, in this article, in this paragraph here, they actually, I think they didn't do this necessarily on purpose, but this highlights kind of the greed of Wizard of the Coast when it comes to like making you want to craft cards. I guess I don't know if they make you want to craft cards, but basically forcing you to craft the cards if you want to play this format. They mentioned that fetch lands are coming with the next sets, and those fetch lands are not playable in any format other than Timeless. I wonder why they're releasing a new format when rares in the upcoming sets will not be playable otherwise in the game. Hmm. Especially because these lands are actually mandatory in the format, I'm assuming, because fetch lands are broken. So yeah, look forward to that if you want to play this format. Another note is also Strixhaven Mystical Archive and Eldraine, Wells of Eldraine Enchanting Tales. I know more about Strixhaven Mystical Archives, and we know cards that are in there, like Lightning Bolt and Counterspell, which I believe both of those cards are not rares in Paper Magic, but they were reprinted as rares. So there are a lot of cards that were upgraded in rarity on MTG Arena. Well, look forward to crafting those as well. All in all, you're going to be crafting a lot of cards, especially if you don't play Alchemy already, because Alchemy is going to be in Timeless, obviously, and it's only going to be the printed versions of the cards that are in Timeless. So none of the rebalancing nonsense. It's just literally the card was released. That's what you're going to play in Timeless. So that means Bowmasters is still the same. I think the One Ring was changed as somewhat as well. There are a bunch of other cards. I don't play Alchemy, but I do know that a lot of cards had to be rebalanced because they were overtuned. Well, those cards are going to be in Timeless the way they were printed. So you're going to be crafting those as well if you don't have them in Alchemy. So this, in my opinion, is basically just an extension of the player base of Alchemy and Historic, which is not good because it's going to potentially split those small player bases already into 3 formats instead of 2. And that is not good news for the game when we already have pretty long queue times. It's weird because I don't think this will affect standard that much, but even in standard, I've been noticing that the queue times are like 3 times longer than they were like, I don't know, 6 months ago maybe. I don't know. The standard player base, or maybe the player base of MTG Arena in general, seems to be dwindling as people just are not too happy with the state of the game or are separated between so many formats now that it's just like we don't have a consolidated player base anymore. So like every format has like a long queue time instead of like focusing on like a few formats. It's just, and now we're making it potentially worse. In my opinion, Timeless will most likely either die immediately because people just do not have the resources to play it, because the power level is going to be so high, you're going to need to craft so many cards that you probably don't have unless you have like so many. I don't know, it's possible you have like all the cards or most of the cards and you just need to craft like fetch lands, maybe lightning strike or something like that. But that will only again extend from Alchemy players, because I think Alchemy players probably have like most of the Alchemy cards that are broken that we'll see play here. But do they have all the cards in Historic as well? I don't know, because Historic has a lot of broken cards that we'll probably see play in this format as well. It's like so many ifs for this format to succeed and not be just a cash grab. It's going to be crazy. And if this format does succeed, well, by proxy, it will just reduce the player bases of Historic and Alchemy, as I said, because most likely those players are going to be the ones migrating over to Timeless. So it's a lose-lose. Essentially, it's a lose-lose win for Wizards of the Coast because they'll be making some money potentially. Now they might actually just not make any money from this because people might not be willing to play it. But I don't know. I doubt that's the case. It seems like there's going to be a decent amount of people who are excited to play this format until they realize the queue times are going to be like 4 minutes, 5 minutes. But all this to say that I think timeless is not a sound decision. It's not good for the. It's not a positive for the game. What we need on Arena is to potentially bring people who are on MTGO or who are just playing paper, like in formats that are not available on Arena. We need those players to come in and play MTG Arena to grow the community, the player base. This format does not do anything for the players. It's not like a new player is going to come in and be like, okay, I'm going to play timeless. No, that is not going to happen. So this is not helping the game grow at all. This is just further splitting the player base, which is a negative. And what are we doing about format? Like at some point, this arena will have so many formats, just ridiculous. Like what if we ever get like modern, right? Like what if we ever get other formats that are like pretty much paper MTGO exclusive? And what if those come in eventually? Like we need to focus on those. We don't need to dilute the pool of already existing formats. So even though this is an easy format to implement, so it's not like this they probably expended that many resources to put this into place, because it's just using the resources that are already on Arena. When adding other formats is going to be much more difficult because you have to implement all the cards that come with those. I don't know. I can only see this as a negative. I'm ready to be proven wrong as always. I do think it's a positive for the game. If things succeed, obviously, I want the game to succeed. I hope it does, but the track record is not there for successful implementations of new things in general, I guess. So I can only be realistic at this point. It's a logical way to view this, where so many things have happened that have been negative. There's no reason to think that this will not follow suit. But anyways, that's all I have to say on Timeless. And yeah, look forward to it on December 12th, I guess. Anyways, see ya. Don't forget to click the subscribe button as well as the notification bell if you want to keep up with my future uploads.